Hello there, welcome to my new video. In this video we are gonna discuss about ExpressJs. ExpressJs is nothing but a Node.js framework which we use in developing web applications. As I have already said, it's a Node.js framework. So what actually ExpressJs does is if you already familiar with Node.js, it has a HTTP module. By using the Node.js HTTP module, you can make calls to the API using get, post, put, delete methods. When you're using these methods, you also have to write code for parsing the payload and parsing the cookies, storing sessions, and selecting the right route pattern based on regular expressions or so. You have to manually write all these things, but with ExpressJs it is just there for you to use. That is what ExpressJs does. So let's get into the batch today. Here I'm gonna cover all these criteria in this video. Let's get started with the first one. So it says create REST API using ExpressJs. So what is REST API? A REST API is an architectural style for APIs that can use HTTP requests to access or use data. What is REST stands for is it is representational state transfer. Most of the applications prefer REST API because it uses less bandwidth, which makes it more suitable for efficient internet communications. So now let's get into our project. Here the first one says create REST API using ExpressJS. For this I have an empty project opened in VS Code, and first thing I'm gonna do is npm init y, which creates package.json, and now I'm gonna install npm install express, which is gonna create a dependency express. So to create a RESTful API, I'm gonna create a folder called src. Inside src I'm gonna create index.js file. Inside this js file I'm gonna create a const called express, which I'm gonna require express. Now I'm gonna create another variable called app, and I'm gonna call express on it. And now I'm gonna say app.get app.get, and I'm gonna create a callback with request response, and I'm gonna say response.send hello there. And now I'm gonna say app.listen on port. I'm gonna console log listening on port 3001. Okay, now let's run this and check if the file is working or not, app is working or not. I'm gonna say node src. So it says listening on port 3001, and I'm gonna go to the browser and call localhost 3001, and it says hello there. This is how we create a RESTful API using Express. And I also want to show you one more thing. If you want to listen, let's say maybe users, and it has a request response call back and sends we are in users. Let's see if we can listen to this. So in the URL here, I'm gonna say localhost 3001/users. Cannot get to users. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Control C, and now I'm gonna say node src listening on port. There we go, we are in users. That's how we can send GET requests using RESTful API and using Express. Okay, now let's get into how to use the router. Before I explain this, as you can see here, we have app.get and app.get users. There are two kinds of routes here. Along with get methods, you can also write like app.post, and you can specify a route here like users / some ID or something. And also you can write a method for delete, or you can write a put method. Various kinds of methods you can specify here. Like when the application grows bigger and bigger, it becomes very difficult to write in the same file. So to organize this code, we can use routers. So how can we use these routers? To explain this, I'm gonna create a new folder called routes. Inside this routes, I'm gonna create a file called users.js. Inside this users.js, I'm gonna put all the routes that belongs to users. So if you can see here, this code here, we will like take it off here and then put it inside routes. How to change that? Let's see. First we need to require Express. It's the same way we require, and now we are gonna call router, which we get from express.router. And now using this router, we say like router dot get users request response. In this callback, I'm gonna say response dot send. We're gonna send inside router users. Okay, and we also have to module.exports this router. And now inside index.js, we are gonna take off this code, delete it, and now before this route, I'm gonna say const. I think it is No, it's not const, it should be app.use. Oh, okay, we actually need const user router equals, we have to require that route we have created from routes users, and now we are gonna specify app.use user router, which is gonna use that router. And if we specify the route as local, if we are listening on local host, it should be, if we send the request, get request for localhost / users, it's gonna print this message. Let's see if we are getting that message. Now I'm gonna say node src some error. Okay, the mistake is we gotta take it out of the codes. It's a variable. So now if we say node src, it's listening on port 3001, and inside our browser let's call localhost 3001. At 3000, at the port 3000, hello there is printed. And if we call users, inside router users is the message we sent. That's how we use routers. And now it says parameterized URLs. So what does this mean is, if we are to send any parameters inside the URL, like if I say question mark id equal to 1, or if I say /1, maybe if there is a user with id 1, his details need to be printed, is the general scenario. So how do we deal with these parameters? So for the parameterized URLs for the user, we are gonna create inside the router file for users, router.get /users /:id. Request comma response. We have to send the message. So let's see. If request.params, I think the parameter, let me take this. Let's see, let's say like this. I think this should work. If we send id 1, it has to print 1 here. Let me stop the server and run the server again. And now inside here, if I send this, the parameter is object, so it is coming like a, I think it should be like request.params.id. and let me refresh this and see. Okay, let me stop the server and run the server again and refresh this. So there you go, the parameter is 1. If I send 100, it says the parameter is 100. Now let's see how to use middleware from external libraries. What is a middleware? Middleware functions are like functions that can access this request object and response object. And there is also one more function called next function, which calls the next middleware to call the. So in middleware, the order of the middlewares is very important. Let's see how to write this middleware function. For example, if I have to write a middleware, I can say app.use request response and next. So callback. Inside this callback, I can say console.log say it's requested at I can print the date.now, and if we run this, let's see what happens. So to explain this, also I just forgot to specify the next function here. So when we specify this next, it's gonna go to the next middleware. And here inside this get app.get, this handler here is also like a kind of a middleware. So after the control first goes to this, so it prints this message, and then it goes to this handler in the route. If we send the localhost 3001, then it sends this response, and this we can see inside the browser. So if I also say app.use and say request response, maybe next, but I'm not gonna call the next here, sorry. And if I say console.log end, I think it's gonna end here. Let's see what's going to happen. And I don't think we need next here because we are not using next. So the output should be like, inside the console it has to print it's requested at the particular time, and then it's gonna run this handler and it's gonna show it on the browser, hello there, and after that it's gonna run this middleware and it's gonna print end in the console. This is the order of the execution of the middleware. Okay, now I'm gonna say node src. It's gonna listen on the port 3001, and if I refresh this, I'm gonna take off till here. It says hello there. Let's inspect. There's nothing in the console. That's odd. Okay, let me close this and open it again with localhost 3001. Hello there is present. Inside console there is nothing. That's odd. Oh, I see it here. It's requested it, but there is no end. Why am I not receiving end? Okay, I think we need to say next here also. Control V and save it. And now stop the server, call the server, and let's refresh So there you go, we are getting it's requested at particular time, and there is and also there is hello there. And if I put some console.log middle, and let me change this to start. And now let's stop the server and call the server listening on board, and let's refresh this. It's gonna say start, middle, end. That's the order of the middleware. Let's see how to create a middleware. So these, before we jump into create middleware, I just want to let you know that we can create middleware not for just the base route. We can also create for routes like users, for specific routes. I can say, like, if I say router.use users request comma response comma next, and if I say console.log requested route users, and I can call the next. So now if I stop the server and call the server again, it's listening on port, and if I run this, it prints start, middle, end. Now if I make a request for users route, it shows requested route users here, and it prints inside router users in the browser. That's how we can write middleware functions for specific routes. Now let's see how to create middleware. For this, I'm gonna create a file called logger.js, and inside this I'm gonna say, for example, I can write like const express express equals require express, and I can say const app equals express. I will call express on this. Now if I say app.use of function request comma response comma next in console.log, we can console like the date as we did before, maybe date or maybe something else. I think we can do request, let's say like this, requested at $request dot or date requested at on request dot method Let's call that and see if it shows. So this is in logger.js and we have to use this middleware. And let's go to index.js and let's import const logger equals require dot backslash. I think it's here. Okay, now we have imported logger, and now how do we use it? We just have to say app.use of logger. So whenever a request is created, for every request this logger is gonna run. Now let me stop the server, and okay, we are in users, right? Now I'm gonna say node src. Something is wrong. Did we write the next? Okay, we have to call next. I don't think we need this, but we have to say, we wrote it wrong. I have to say const logger equals. I have to call that function, and we have to module dot exports equals logger. That's my mistake. I'm really sorry. Okay, now if I say node src, it's listening on port 3001, and here I'm requesting users route. It said requested route users. Okay, now if I take off users and run this, okay, here it is printing requested at, it's displaying that, and on get, this is the get request that we said, like inside logger we said request.method. This displays the get method, and it also printed the middle, I mean the start, the middle, and the end. And it went in order to, first it went to logger, and then the start, and then the handler inside the get. This is the handler, and then the end. That's how we create middleware. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope I have covered everything. I'll see you guys in a next video with another topic. Bye. Take care.